So maybe can we back up a minute and start with some basics of why does Ollama exist? Like, I'm sure we got tons of people on the show that are thinking, oh, this is such old news, Bret. Like, why are we? But I need some help. So what's the elevator pitch for Ollama?
I think it's a good thing to do because actually on a recent video that I did about, getting started with Ollama and RAG, with retrieval augmented generation, a comment, I was trying to like make it as simple and as basic as possible, like the really, really anybody can start this kind of thing. And the comment was, do you have like a for dummies version? It's like, I thought that was. So I think I sometimes forget I need to go back all the way to the very beginning of why is Ollama a thing. So first off, I am no longer with the team for Ollama, the team that makes Ollama. So just put that out there first. I was, and in January we split up. But when we came up with Ollama, one of the guys in the group, Jeff, had already talked about, we were building other tools, said, if you all need to be, have a subscription to ChatGPT or to all these other online AI services, because using these tools lets you be 20% better or 30% better as a developer. Maybe it's 10%, some percentage better. And that means we can go faster building the tools we were trying to build before. And as we progressed through that, it's like, well, this stuff, there's ways to run it locally. All the tools are kind of hard and some of them are pretty, but they're hard to use or they're slower than they should be. And one of the guys on the team came up with a way of running it locally. Originally, it was just a Python framework installed with pip install Ollama, I think it was. And it was like a great proof of concept for running these models locally. And so what that did was allow you to make it super easy, like brain dead easy, to grab a model like Llama 2, which comes from Meta, and run that locally. And then you have kind of like ChatGPT, but local. And local means, your data is not going up into the cloud and it's not potentially being used to make the model better. And that was, a problem with ChatGPT earlier on. Sometimes the questions and the answers would go into the model itself, and their terms of services were kind of unclear. And so that may open up the opportunity for these local LLMs. And so now you're able to run these things locally and ask a question. And is it as good as ChatGPT? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. And often, especially if I'm asking a coding question, I was working on a project pretty recently, and I sometimes, kind of default to opening up ChatGPT and asking a question. And I asked the same question locally, and it was faster locally, and it was a better, more succinct answer, and on a local LLM. So it's just because it's local, even though, OpenAI has, what are they spending, like $750,000 a day to keep ChatGPT running? Even though your laptop is probably a lot less than $750,000, it still can compete. And then you could have all these other use cases. Like I live on an island to the west of Seattle called Bainbridge Island. And yesterday or 2 days ago, I went into the city to go to open source summit, I think CNCF event. And, there's a 45-minute ferry ride, and I was trying to code up something. And of course, I have no internet connection when I'm on that boat. Even if I'm tethering to my phone, there's just no cell towers in the middle of Puget Sound. So I'm completely offline, and using models locally, I can do really interesting things. So that was kind of a lot of those points are why Ollama exists and why people get excited about Ollama.